Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Friday's edition of Premarket Info.
Friday's edition featuring a little sell-off here, Joel. The market's it's at the same spot that it was pretty much when I left a week ago here, although we've had some volatility.
Yeah, you usually when you're traveling or whatever, we usually get a couple days of really good
I know,
volatility.
because
But
I love the volatility, and that's usually when I go away, I usually try to predict, well, when is it going to be the slowest? Because I don't like to miss much trading action, and usually that's in the dog days of August here. But we've
yep,
had some good movement. We broke above the 1700 area for a bit there. And then we sold off, and I'm like, why am I not at the office right now trading? So I did try to trade from my iPad a little bit there. So I was trading some of the opens. I just can't seem to stay away from it. But it's not the same. It's not the same as being in the office and obviously having all your tools and all your toys, and it's
right.
difficult.
You did the S&Ps. Just quickly looking at these. Stop shy of Thursday's high, which was 1697. So good $8 away from there. The pre-market high 95 and a quarter. So some good levels to look at if we rally 5 or 6 points. If you're looking to exit some longs or initiate some shorts, coming back on the downside. Supported yesterday's low 84 and a half, and then the real major, super major support 1680 and a quarter. Was your 7-day low, and then Wednesday's low was 1680 and a half. So kind of 10 points away from there, kind of in no man's land.
Approaching the $1,000 marker here this morning. Price line. They beat earnings 970 versus 938, a dollar or 1.68 billion versus 1.66 billion. Joel, this is the momentum market. I'm telling you, it wouldn't have even probably mattered if they missed. The stock would have popped. It's just strong stocks get stronger, weaker stocks get weaker. That's just the kind of market we're in. Here we are with price line, all-time highs, just trading just under $1,000.
Yeah, I'm really going out on a limb here, but I think that stock is going to $1,000.
Well, a
I
lot of
really
other
do.
people thought it was going to 1,000 too, and everybody thinks it's going higher this morning because everybody, here's your analyst chasing price like they always do. Here's the upgrades of their, or these aren't upgrades, but raising the price target this morning is Piper Jaffray raising it up to 1,100, Morgan Stanley raising up to 1,150, J.P. Morgan raising it up to 1,130, Deutsche Bank raising up to 1,120, Goldman Sachs raising it up to 1,200. All your analysts always chasing price. So at the end of the day, it looks like they know what they were talking about. But regardless, price line here 996 right now. We have not ticked up. The high in the pre-market has been 998.38. So
Yep.
1,000, a little bit of a wall here, a little bit of a hurdle for it to climb. When it's this close, though, you got to think it's probably going to take it out. But I mean, that is a big psychological number for this stock.
Yeah, and for the support, I mean, if you can call it that, the initial blip took it to 980, and it paused there for a little bit, and then tacked on another 18 points. The lowest level that we've traded here since the 4 a.m. open, Dennis, is 986.20. So if you want to keep that on as a minor support point, and then the only number in the book here, 998. 30, what is it, 998.38, and then the psychological $1,000 level.
Yeah, let's move on to a few other stocks here. Just quick earnings from BBRY 2, which is symbol DV. That stock reported 54 cents versus 40, 480 million versus 481.42 million. So a slight miss on the revenue, which actually has the stock offered down here this morning. No trades to report, but it is offered at $31. I see 300 shares offered on Edge, 100 shares offered on Arca. So a couple people trying to liquidate this stock. 84 cents lower. That means it's probably going to open below 31 here because nobody's sniffing that offer.
Yeah, I did see a printed. I guess that
Odd
was
lot.
right on the
Odd lot.
close. Yeah, an odd lot there. Okay, well let's take a look at the dailies here to try and see if we can figure out what the stock is doing. 30 sure looks like a big level. I know it's offered at 31 in the pre-market. That's a buck away from here. But 30 has been some major support in that stock. Let's see what the last time we traded down to 30 was. Bunch of lows around 29.75 to 30.
Yep.
That was at the back of end of the month, end of July here. Another point sticking out here, 30.44. That's your 4-day low. Offered at 31 if you wanted to try and pick a support point or throw a bid out. Is there any bids out there or not? Just offered.
1883. You gotta.
1883.
Sorry about my throat, guys. I am jet lagged, and I didn't. You wouldn't. You wouldn't think that you get jet lag from being only 2 hours away, but I was in Denver there all week, and I'm on Denver time, and some reason I am jet lagged, my throat's bothering me, and it's just a tough Friday for Denny off the bat here, but bear with me on the throat. I'm looking at those four levels, Joel: 2980, 2985, 2979. So you got all kinds of lows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lows basically there, just under $30. So that level is absolutely enormous for the stock to hold. If it goes below there, it could get interesting.
Yeah, and if it does go into rally mode, the last 2 days lows, 31.41 and 31.66. So call that 31.5 would be your first resistance point if it goes into rally mode.
Let's talk about BlackBerry here. Stock possibly talking about going private is what Reuters is reporting here this morning, and it is getting a big pop here in the pre-market. It's up 7.6%, trading at $9.94. Interesting enough, this stock got a pop there about 4 days ago. I was looking at the weekly calls, the 10s. I kept it on my screen, and actually yesterday they were trading for a penny, like offered at a penny all day. Right now those are probably going to be worth something. It was actually trading higher in the pre-market, got up to 10.35. It is down below 10 right now at 9.91. $10, absolutely enormous for the stock.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who would buy that company. Maybe for some
Well,
of their
private,
patents,
so they
but
can buy themselves, right?
yeah, I don't know who's thinking of doing that. But going up here, I did get initial spike up to 10.35 here, but since then we've come back under the $10 level. I think that 10 is still going to pose as some good resistance here. You had a couple daily highs right around that area. Actually, going back July 9th, had a high at 993. So 993, $10. I'm still concentrating that as resistance here. But whether you're private or it's still an ongoing company, I mean, still got the same earnings, you still got the same products. So maybe a little pop here for investors that have been trying to pick some bottoms here at the $10 level to exit.
What do you think of this J.C. Penney circus show that we've been seeing here the last couple of days? Obviously, the Ackman letter yesterday, basically, wanting a new CEO. That made the stock pop yesterday morning off of that. And then the response after hours, J.C. Penney disagrees, and they think Ullman is the right person to rebuild this company, and the stock is selling off on that J.C. Penney response.
Looking at this stock here, I mean, this is at a multi-year low here. I remember looking at that $13 level, but 3 lows between 12.50 and 12.65. That's your support level here. If you're trying to pick a bottom in the stock, keep an eye on that, and certainly if it gets below there, you may want to have some kind of exit strategy. Coming back on the upside here, we're 75 cents, 80 cents away from yesterday's high at 14.13. That $14 level, should be resistance, 14 to 14.13. And then, boy, I tell you, I don't even think a monthly is going to do any good on this. So, I mean, I think this thing's the lowest it's been since like 2001, 2002. So, don't know if it's going to zero, but takes out 12.50 here, and could be some more selling in J.C. Penney.
Speaking of going to zero, you want to see something interesting. DNDN, which is Dendron, reported earnings yesterday, and they missed, and the stock actually trading down significantly in the pre-market. But looking at Wedbush here, they lower their price target from $1 to 0. I don't think I've ever seen that before. They put a price target of 0 on the stock. Said they expect restructuring of the convertible debt, which would wipe out most of the equity value. So here's an analyst actually putting a price target of 0 on something. The earnings were losing 45 cents, supposed to only lose 42 cents. Light on the revenue too, 73 million versus 75 million. And the stock is trading down here in the pre-market, although it was a little bit worse a while ago. It's bounced back a bit. This was a stock that got a pretty good pop the last few days and has given that pop back.
Interesting that it's bounced off 362 twice here in the last hour and a half here. So someone's targeting that 1362 level. There's a place to exit a short or perhaps nibble on a long. The last two rebounds off that 362 level have been stymied at $4. So a couple parameters to keep an eye on. If it can, in fact, sneak above $4 here, can start to get in part of the range from yesterday, but you still have a ways to go up to get to yesterday's low. And look at that. Lo and behold, Dennis, it settled right on the low of the day yesterday. 459 was the low, and 459 was the close. So
Somebody
weakness
had a
going.
feeling they weren't going to be good earnings, did they?
Yeah, well, it snuck over $5 early in the session, but sold off. So keep an eye on 450 as resistance.
Let's go over to the ratings for a second. Deere getting a couple downgrades this morning. ISI Group downgrading, and there's a big one. UBS downgrading Deere to sell this morning here. 80.91 is where it's trading at right now here in the pre-market. Closed at 82.32. So Deere coming under significant pressure here, and it's approaching
Wow.
a 52-week low here as well. That
Okay,
that pre-market chart is
let's
ugly.
that is really ugly here. But taking a look, we got an 80-60 low, getting a little pop off that. You had a 2-day low right at that area at 80.65. So there's a level that you'll have to hold here if you're a Deer fan. Coming back on the downside below that, 79.50 was a low on June 24th. So buck and a half away from there. So below this 80-60 level, we'll be looking for 79 and a half. Coming back on the upside here, rally mode 81.31 was yesterday's low. That would what it would take to fill the gap.
The cat often trades with Deere. We might as well do a quick technical on cat for you pair traders out there. CAT is trading down 50 cents in sympathy, obviously, with the overall market, but also with this Deere downgrades here. Closing fairly strong. Cat actually had a pretty good day there yesterday, so it is giving some of those gains back here this morning.
Yeah, the pre-market just trading at like 83.40 here. 82.92 was the low from yesterday. So keep an eye on that. Still hasn't been able to get to that. Below that, you have a stopping point at 81.80. That's the 2-day low. But sometimes when there's bad news on the stock and you're not trading the hot rod like Deere, sometimes you can catch someone sleeping in Cat or one of those other stocks there that are in the same sector.
Cisco upgraded JP Morgan. It's one of your major companies that is trading up here higher this morning, and it actually breaking out. This Cisco has just been moving here quietly, continues to climb all year. This has been one of your best performers here, and this is breaking out and trying to get to a new 52-week high here this morning. Actually, I believe the pre-market high ticked the high there just from yesterday. So
Yeah, it did.
yeah,
Yep.
so it's trying Cisco to break out here to a new 52-week high. Man, that big. Remember Cisco, like back in the tech bubble, was the highest market cap stock in the whole world there. I think it got over 600 billion there or something at one time. Was the leader, and obviously since the tech bubble crash, when the stock was back, I think it was over like $80 or something. It's kind of been dead money for the better part of the last 13 years, but in the last year here, it's slowly started to climb back.
Right. Let's take a look. The pre-market high right there, 26.50. And you have those daily highs there, right? 26.49. Another couple there at 26.42. So if you're playing the momentum, playing the breakout here, you get that move above 26.50. Really not much in there to look at. This is the highest the issue has traded since going back to 2010. May in 2010, you made a high at 27.69. That might be a little out of the way today just for such a big, thick stock, but sure can get a good start of it if it can take out this 26.5 level.
Baidu, BIDU, getting upgraded at Citigroup here this morning. This one just breaking actually a few minutes ago. Stock trading up $2.42 here now, 138.10, getting a little lift on the Citigroup upgrade. Here's a stock that just made a new all-time high at 139.85. Or actually, I'm sorry, it's not a new all-time, but new 52-week
Okay.
high at 139.85. Looks like we're gonna try to test that this morning.
Right, 139.85. We traded that on August 2nd. Haven't been able to quite get up there in the pre-market. Keep an eye on that, 139.85, 140. Nice round number like that. Also coming back on the downside, if there's a change of our heart here, we'll keep an eye at the close to fill the gap at 135.74.
Looking at a couple other ones just from a technical perspective here, we got Procter and Gamble broke out to a new all-time high there. Did it tick a new all-time high yesterday, Joel, or was it just shy of it?
No, it did. The former all-time high was 82.35. Got to 82.40
Wait,
yesterday.
though, I have
Settled
an
it.
82.54. Well, you're looking at your screen there. What's that 82.54 on the 23rd?
Oh, that's right. It's
Ooh,
not
they
the
snuck
all-time
one in.
high.
They snuck one in on you there. It was
I
close.
stand
I
corrected. I
stand
stand
corrected. We
corrected.
got to correct Joel there when he gets all excited. Maybe he's predicting the future here. Maybe it's gonna. I'll tell you though, that 82.40. What was the high? 82. The all-time high 82.54. There is institutions lining up at 82.50 though. So somebody wants out. I see 82.45 significant size, 82.49 significant size. I see 90 more thousand 82.50. So they are lining up at that old 52-week high area to sell stock. So that is going to still be resistance until that is broken.
Right. And then after that, you have, perhaps the next more paper at 83 to sell.
Yeah, actually I was writing that one down too. I think there was over 100,000 shares at 83 as well. So they line up. Those institutions when stocks making new highs like to line up at the whole numbers and lighten up their positions. So those always become areas of interest for the high frequency traders to lean on, for the short term traders to lean on, and for you to be aware that that is areas of resistance. Also, Johnson and Johnson. Usually the stocks when Procter Gamble's making new all-time high, Johnson Johnson usually coming close by too. But J&J yesterday had a rough one. It actually closed okay, but was breaking down there just there in the early morning trade, and obviously did come back towards the end of the day. But what do you think of this J&J with the potential there of breaking down there yesterday?
I was keeping an eye on they had 3 or 4 lows there, right in the 93.50 area, and I took that out yesterday. I got down to 92.71 before you had the rebound. That 92.71 level coincides with the low that you had on July 29th at 92.61. So if you're still trying to hold on for this one, if it breaks below that 92.61 level, and the low from yesterday, you got about a buck of air on the downside to the low from the 26. But I bet you there's some paper lining up at those old lows. All the people that bought in 93.5 on the prior few days might be looking to lighten up there ahead of that area.
What about ExxonMobil here? It's ex-dividend today for 63 cents. The adjusted close is 91.15, where it closed at 91.78. They adjust for the dividend to knock the adjusted close down to 91.15. But looking here, I know you were citing this whole 91 area as major support, and obviously with the ex-dividend date, we're going to open up in or down into that support here today. Stock trading actually almost flat right now, just down a penny when you do the adjusted
Oh,
close.
yeah, okay.
But it's been sitting around there at 91 there for a bit.
Yeah, and, so where's the mark for the people that did the ex-dividend play? Right, 91.50.
91.15.
Okay, yeah, I mean, certainly some pressure on that. I think been hanging out in the 91 handle just a little bit too long here. So if you get some continued momentum in the S&Ps and downward here below that $91 level, it could be a little bit dicey here. You did have a low.
I think it
Going
could
back.
hold. I think it could
You,
hold.
you think it could
I
hold?
think it could hold. You know why? Just I'm watching the pre-market action here. Obviously, it all depends on the S&P futures with ExxonMobil. Whenever you're trading any of these stocks that are such a huge component of the S&P futures, you need to watch the market. Overall market starts breaking down. It's obviously not good for a stock like ExxonMobil, and oil prices too affected. But $91 is just absolutely enormous. 91.01, the low on the 5th. That's the bogey. You're right. If it does take that level out, I wouldn't want to own it. But somebody's holding the fort here in the pre-market. It hasn't really traded down that much. Where's the pre-market chart, Joel? You got that? I'm just curious as to how low it has been here in the pre-market. I'll put you under pressure there.
Yeah, take 91
91.
even.
Yeah, so
I
futures have
don't know.
been
I don't.
down. But it hasn't really shown that much weakness here because the future's been down as much as 7. It's only been down 14 cents from the adjusted close. I think people might use this opportunity to try to pick the stock up on the cheap. So I don't know. I might try it long myself off the hop. If it takes out 91 though, that's my bogey. I'm getting out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel a bet coming on here, but the only thing is you came way off that 95.5 level, bounced off the 91. You spent the last 4 days between 91 and 92, and now it just, I don't know. I just kind of made it with this dividend and opening it down. The SPOO's down a little bit here. I think it's good. I think it has momentum to take that out and test the 90.57 low that you had on July 5th, and then super major support, the double bottom, 90.12 and 90.14. So I'm disagreeing with you, Dennis, but I'm not sure
Not
what
enough for
kind
a
of
bet.
wager. Not enough for a wager.
Okay, we're running short on time here. The S&P futures have basically been doing nothing since we've started the show. We're at 1689. We started 20 minutes ago. We're still trading at 1689. Just sitting here, hanging out. What do you think is going to happen here today?
Well, it had 9 point range, right? And getting a little bit of a rebound here. So getting you take a half of that, and that takes you right back up to this 1690 level. That's where we're trading. I think you get above there either in the pre-market or early in the session. You'll sneak up to close. Perhaps that's the close at 1693.75. Major resistance at 1697. Just be interesting. I don't think I'm going to get too excited on the short side. Until we can crack yesterday's low at 1684.50, and then you got a little air down to the to Wednesday's low at 1680.5.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading day. Have a great weekend. Back at you on Monday.